The settlement of New Carthage burned behind Corporal Elias Dre as he stood in the scorched clearing, rifle hanging loose in his grip. Smoke twisted into the violet sky of Dracon Prime, carrying with it the acrid smell of plasma fire and something older, sulfur and ash. Around him, the rest of his unit swept through the forest, hunting down survivors of the dragon attack that had devastated the human colony. Command had been clear: eliminate all hostiles. No exceptions, but the creature cowering in the hollow of a burnt oak tree wasn't a hostile, not yet anyway. Elias approached slowly, his boots crunching over charred undergrowth. The hatchling couldn't have been more than a few weeks old, barely the size of a large dog, its scales still soft and translucent like colored glass. It watched him with eyes that flickered between amber and crimson, intelligent eyes that tracked his every movement with desperate awareness. "Dre, you got something?" Lieutenant Vance's voice crackled through his comm. Elias's finger hovered over the transmit button. One word and a dozen soldiers would converge on this spot. The hatchling would be dead in seconds. Just another casualty in humanity's war for territorial expansion across the Dracon system. "Negative, sir," Elias heard himself say. "False alarm. Just some debris." The hatchling tilted its head, a very unreptilian gesture of curiosity. Steam curled from its nostrils in thin wisps. Not fire yet, but the promise of it. Elias had seen what the adults could do.
He'd pulled charred bodies from the rubble just hours ago.
Colonists who'd never stood a chance when the nest had retaliated against human encroachment. But this wasn't one of those dragons. This was just a child. Elias crouched low, setting his rifle aside. "Easy there," he murmured, extending a gloved hand. "I'm not going to hurt you." The hatchling flinched, pressing itself deeper into the hollow. A soft keening sound emerged from its throat. Not quite a growl, not quite a whimper. The sound of pure primal fear. Something in Elias's chest twisted. He'd enlisted to protect humanity, to be part of something greater than himself. But standing here, watching this terrified creature shake in the ruins of its destroyed nest, he couldn't reconcile the order with the reality before him. "I know what you're thinking," he whispered, more to himself than to the dragon. "But they're wrong. You're not a weapon. Not yet." The hatchling's eyes fixed on him, and for a moment Elias felt something pass between them. Not quite understanding, but recognition. Two beings caught in a war neither had chosen. He made his decision. By nightfall, the unit had established a perimeter camp 5 kilometers from the settlement. Elias sat through the mission debrief, nodding at appropriate intervals while his mind raced through logistics. The hatchling was hidden in a salvage crate in his tent, sedated with a mild tranquilizer from the med kit. It wouldn't last long. "Dre, you good?" Sergeant Collins asked, studying him across the flickering holographic fire. "You've been quiet." "Just tired," Elias replied, forcing casualness into his voice. "Long day." "Aren't they all?" Collins grunted, turning back to his rations. Elias waited until the camp settled into sleep rotation. Third watch was his, perfect timing. He moved through his tent with practiced efficiency, checking his supplies one last time. Enough rations for 2 weeks. Water purification tablets. Medical kit. Navigation beacon disabled. The hatchling stirred in the crate, scales shimmering faintly in the darkness. Elias had fashioned a makeshift harness from cargo webbing, something to carry it without causing injury. "All right, little one," he breathed, carefully lifting the creature. It was surprisingly light, hollow-boned like Earth's ancient birds. Time to go. The hatchling, Kyrath he'd decided to call it, borrowing from the harsh syllables he'd heard the adult dragons cry, nuzzled weakly against his chest. Still groggy from the sedative, but alive. Safe. For now. Elias slipped into the forest like a ghost, using every bit of reconnaissance training the military had drilled into him. He knew the patrol routes, knew the sensor gaps, knew exactly how long he had before someone noticed the empty tent. 2 hours. Maybe 3 if he was lucky. The forest of Dracon Prime was alive with bioluminescence at night. Fungi that glowed blue along tree trunks, insects that left trails of green light through the air. Kyrath perked up as they moved deeper into the wilderness, her eyes widening with wonder at sights she'd never seen beyond her destroyed nest. "Yeah, it's beautiful," Elias agreed softly. "Your world. Not ours to take." He'd known the truth for months, even as command pushed them deeper into dragon territory. The colony expansions weren't about resources or strategic positioning. They were about dominance, about proving humanity could tame even the most hostile of worlds. But some things weren't meant to be tamed. By dawn, Elias had reached the network of caves he'd scouted weeks earlier, a labyrinth of volcanic tunnels that stretched for kilometers beneath the mountains. Thermal vents kept them warm, underground streams provided water, and the dragons knew these passages like humanity knew city streets. Kirath had fully awakened now, chittering and climbing over rocks with increasing confidence. She paused at the mouth of a deeper tunnel, turning back to look at Elias with those impossibly old eyes. "Go on," he urged gently. "Find your people. You'll be safe here." The hatchling took 2 steps forward, then stopped. She turned back, approaching Elias once more. This time, when she pressed her scaled head against his hand, he felt warmth. Not just physical heat, but something deeper. A connection forged in the moment he'd chosen mercy over orders. Then, Kirath spread her wings, still too small for flight but magnificent nonetheless, and disappeared into the darkness of the caves. Elias stood alone in the cave entrance, watching the first rays of alien sunrise paint the sky in shades of copper and gold. His comm unit would be screaming with alerts by now. Search parties would be mobilizing. He was officially AWOL, a deserter, a traitor to the human cause. But as he heard a distant, answering cry echo from deep within the mountain, adult dragons calling to their lost young, Elias smiled. Some betrayals were worth it. He turned and walked deeper into the caves, leaving behind his rifle, his uniform, and the war that had asked him to become something he refused to be. Behind him, in the human camp, his empty tent fluttered in the morning breeze, and the hunt began.